And then we're gonna do Java.
So what in here for? Anyway, welcome to another. What?
Oh, just talking. Sorry.
Okay. Welcome to another episode of Sparkcast, where we've got another exciting, depending on what we choose your own adventure Transformers from the UK. Joining us today is me, Sean, and
Charlie.
And Thomas.
And together we are
Sparkcast.
Sparkcast. So, let's begin with a quick bio. This is Peril from the Stars. It says adventure game books, but it is basically another way of wording a choose your own adventure book, since that actually has a trademark or copyright on that whole collection of words together. Which is why the other one was called Choose Your Fate, and this one is called Adventure Game Books.
Is Choose Your Fate also like a trademark?
Oh, I don't know. It was only made for like some of those G.I. Joes, Transformers, and stuff. So the book was drawn by Bob Harvey, and he did 4 of the Transformers books. But he is also done some other books called Famous 5, Way of the Tiger, Fighting Fantasy, and Dragon Warriors. But I couldn't find him anywhere on. He doesn't have an IMDb page, and I wasn't able to even find him on Amazon either, though.
He does have a Wikipedia page, though.
Really? I didn't see anything that said artist when I looked up his name.
So that's got a lot of some of the ones you just mentioned, plus others like Blood Sword, Chronicles of the Magi, Crystal Mage.
Are these novels or are they children's books? Like with illustrations, or does he actually have some children's novels too and stuff?
Yeah, it doesn't say. I don't know what they are.
Wait, wait, you mean Bob Harvey, right?
No, the author of Peril from the Stars.
No, I started with the artist.
Oh, Bob Harvey.
Talking about the artist first, yeah, just because I didn't have much about him other than what was on the TF Wiki site. I couldn't find him in other sources. But the writer is Dave Morris, and he's done 7 Transformers books. So this is the first one we're reviewing from him. He appears to have done a lot of these the adventure game books, and he's also done quite a lot of things. Why don't you tell us what he's done, Thomas?
So he has also worked on a lot of stuff with Dave Morris. I don't know what else he's done outside of working with Dave Morris, but he's also got he worked on Dragon Warriors with Dave Morris, Starlight Adventures, Transformers, The Way of the Tiger, and Warlock magazine.
Well, it says here he also did some of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles books, which I don't know if they are also UK only Ninja Turtle books that are game books like this, or if they're actually short story children's books that are just for them to read. But
oh my goodness,
what's up?
I'm looking at one of the one of his other works. Can you Brexit without breaking Britain? He's done some political stuff. Just a random thing. Right after he did a Minotaur at the Savoy, he did Can You Brexit?
And apparently he does a series called the Dragon Warrior series and the Fabled Lands series, and neither of those are connected to the actual Dragon Warrior video game. They just coincidentally share the same name, which is Dragon Quest anyway, but I remember the game was called Dragon Warrior over here for the first few games. And tons of fantasy novels, which some of them look interesting. I also wonder what these virtual novel books are that he's written. Because anything with virtual reality, I'm interested in. I might just, leave right now to go read some. No. So, yep, that was it for that. Oh god, my computer is beeping at me. 1 second.
I'm looking at the cover of Can You Break Brexit? That's pretty good.
Is there
Uh,
artwork on it? What is it?
yeah.
All right, so who wants to begin this adventure and see if we can save the lives of the Transformers, or if we're going to cause some of them to hideously die in ridiculous ways again?
Yay. I can't wait to kill someone.
Do you want to start, Charlie?
What do we want to
Or
do?
actually,
Read
yeah,
first
this is the
the
back of
prologue?
the book telling us about what the story we're about to read is.
Do you want to do this prologue thing? Evil robots walk among us?
Yes.
All right. Let's see. So, evil robots walk among us. Earth has been invaded by the powerful robots from the distant planet Cybertron, the heroic Autobots and their enemies, the evil Decepticons. They can disguise their robot shapes as earthly machines and transform for battle at lightning speed. The battle between good and evil rages on Earth. You are the hero of this book. Suddenly, you are thrust into the deadly struggle. You will meet the valiant Autobot Jazz. Really? That's the first Autobot we're going to mention here? So valiant. Okay. And help him fight against the evil Starscream. But be careful. Your actions will decide whether the Decepticon is defeated or whether he gets the terrible weapons he needs to overthrow the world. Is that a typo? Ocepticon.
Yeah, I saw one or two in there too already.
Okay. This is an adventure story, but it's not like most other adventure stories. There's one big difference. You are the main character. What happens in the story depends on your decisions. The fate of the Transformers, whether the valiant Jazz will prevail or whether the evil schemes of Starscream will defeat him, is in your hands. Do not read the pages of this adventure in numerical order as you would an ordinary book. You will start at page 1, of course, but where you go from there will depend on what you choose to do. Be prepared. Prepare to meet the Transformers. Now it's time to begin.
Dun dun. Oh, 1 second. Sorry.
Prepare yourself to meet the Transformers. Now it's time to begin.
All right, sorry about that. No more. So, all right, Thomas, do you want me or you to? Was that Craig coming back, or is that still the first one?
Greg's still here. Nothing's
Okay.
changed.
I'll
start.
It might just be other stuff, like the bots somewhere else. Anyway, all right, I'll start with this. Your uncle and aunt are astronomers, but not the sort of astronomers who just sit around calculating things. They are much more adventurous than that. Oh yeah, action astronomers. We're gonna go to the ancient temple of whatever who built a super telescope and look through it, and avoiding traps just to look at the stars. Anyway, they are always traveling to exotic quarters of the globe to watch distant nebulae through some of the world's most powerful telescopes. Presently, they are staying at the secluded Los Palmos Observatory, high up in the mountains. You are lucky enough to be able to visit them there for a week, and you are looking forward to quite an unusual holiday. Uncle Jack picks you up at the airport, and you begin the long drive up into the mountains. Uncle Jack seems to be absorbed with some problem or other, but he is puffing furiously at his pipe as he often does when he is thinking hard. After a while, you stop at a petrol station, and Uncle Jack has just gone inside to pay the attendant when you see a brilliant flare of red light in the sky. Should we tell Uncle Jack about the light, or keep quiet about what you saw.
Oh my
This
god.
is our first major decision. It will affect everything from this point forward. Do we want to vote on this?
Uncle Jack doesn't need to know about this. This is private stuff.
Yeah, this is our adventure. Adults don't belong in our kids' adventure stories, so I'm going to keep quiet. What say you, Thomas?
Well, I guess should I role play, or should I just say, let's keep quiet about it, see how quickly we can end the story?
Oh my god.
But
Fine.
I'm also thinking, like, if we tell
Wait.
Uncle Jack about it, then possibly he'll just be like, "Oh, I've seen meteorites before. That's no big deal." Like he doesn't like looking at shooting stars anymore. He's still jaded.
Oh yeah, they discount kids in these stories too, right? All right, so we've gone to not telling him. Thomas, you're up.
Uncle Jack gets back into the car, and you drive on up towards the observatory. You watch the breathtaking mountain scenery fly by, but your uncle hardly notices it. Puffing on his pipe, he is miles away. Suddenly, the engine sputters and the car lurches to a halt. Uncle Jack tries the ignition, but it is dead. What on earth? He murmurs to himself. At just that moment, a sleek Porsche pulls up beside you. You and your uncle stand baffled, for there is no one at the wheel.
Great.
Oh, by the way, I saw one of these turtle books that Dave Morris wrote, and I had one of these. I don't remember which one, but I totally recognize the art and stuff. So I don't know which one it was. It might have been Sky High. That really sounds and looks familiar. But I don't know how I have a UK book unless it was also published in America as well. But anyway, well, it must have been because it's Ninja Turtles and not Hero Turtles. So yeah, it was published in America. Don't even
Same
need to
art,
research.
probably, but yeah, they probably just
But anyway, continue. All right, continue, Thomas. You haven't chosen an example yet, so you have to keep reading till you do.
Are you having trouble? Inquires the Porsche. I'm Jazz, one of the Autobots. I'd venture to say that your car has been immobilized by a null field. God. Suddenly, the Porsche's doors and hood unfold as it undergoes an incredible transformation. Within a few moments, it is no longer a car that stands beside you, but a tall robot warrior armed with a powerful laser rifle. Jazz gestures at your uncle's car. I'm afraid I have to change my robot form to keep my circuits shielded from the null field. We'll have to go the rest of the way to the observatory on foot.
Wait, does my uncle know who this is?
Well, no, it seems like that's Jazz also talking. Yeah, it is, because it's all in the same quotes.
Okay.
So I guess he's just going to walk with them to the observatory for some reason.
How does he know we're on the way to the observatory?
Exactly. He just forced his way into the
because
world.
it's an adventure.
They gave us a convenient excuse just there.
Yeah.
He said that he has to change to his robot form, otherwise the null field will short circuit him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay, there's a reason.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what null field. Like, how do we know about that, and what happened? All right, continuing on. The three of you set off towards the observatory. As you approach, you see the slim figure of your aunt emerge and come hurrying towards you. Sue, your uncle calls out to her. This is Jazz, and he says he's a friend. Aunt Sue watches Jazz suspiciously, but then she smiles at you and ruffles your hair. I'm glad to see you're okay. Come on inside now. It will be getting dark soon. Sure enough, the sun is already dipping below the horizon. You can feel the chill of night You can feel the chill of night in the air. As you enter the observatory, Jazz suggests that you all go up to the dome. He is going to explain his mission to you. Man, he is really just so forthcoming and just like.
I guess, Charlie, you should probably read now and give Thomas a break.
Let's see. A spiral staircase leads up to the vast dome of the observatory. As you reach the top, the first thing you see is the telescope itself. It is vast, perhaps 15 meters long, surrounded by the computer operated hydraulic supports that can direct it to any specified point in the heavens. Jazz turns to your uncle. Dr. Richards, can you tell me of any strange incident? Blah, blah, blah. Why am I getting all tongue tied? Let me start over. Jazz turns to your uncle. Dr. Richards, can you tell me of any strange incidents that have occurred around here recently? Uncle Jack takes out his pipe. Well, the first thing was when we were observing the Faroki cluster late last night. There's a brilliant burst of light in the sky, and the instruments all went haywire for several minutes. A similar phenomenon occurred this morning, just as I was about to set off for the airport. And as you know, the ignition on my car failed on the way back here this afternoon. It is as I suspected, said Jazz solemnly, nodding his head. All the evidence points to one of the deadliest Decepticons of them all. The name hangs in the air like a death knell. Starscream!
Jeez, the build-up. And then we have a picture of just weird side-face hockey mask Jazz, who looks more like Casey Jones from Ninja Turtles than he does Jazz, but then has Jazz body.
That just doesn't say Jazz or anything really. He barely has a face.
And then there's your uncle, but his pipe is like, how is he holding that in his mouth? Look where it's positioned. Even if it's on the other side of his mouth, mouths don't go that far back based on that angle, even though the face looks okay.
It looks fine to me. That's one of those curved Scotsman pipes or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the ones that nobody in America uses anymore. But that just looks weird. It's
All right. So continue, because it looks like we're finally making a decision.
Let's see. With night falling outside the dome, the three of you listen attentively. I'm getting sorry, Sean. I'm having a bad night with these teas. With night falling outside the dome, the three of you listen attentively as Jazz tells his story. The Transformers came originally from the planet Cybertron. I said Krypton. One group of us, the Autobots, to which I belong, are peace-loving and mean no harm to the people of Earth.
Lies.
But the other group...
Unless you're Cliff Jumper.
Unless you're all of them.
But the other group, the evil Decepticons, delight only in conquest and destruction. Recently, while studying our ancient records, I discovered that a space pod containing many powerful weapons was launched from Cybertron when our planet passed too close to your own. This happened many millions of years ago, and the pod must have been drifting in orbit around your sun since then. Obviously, Starscream has also learned of these weapons and hopes to acquire them. Okay, so we have three choices here. So we can ask Jazz for more information about Starscream, or we can ask him why he thinks Starscream is involved in the observatory, or interested in the observatory.
Or option 3, Thomas wants to ask Jazz to describe another origin about the Transformers.
Oh my god. So I guess technically this is the same origin. Well, no, they are retelling that story.
But luckily it's not taking the whole book.
This one has some additional context added to it that is...
Oh, you know what? That would be awesome if there actually was a choose your own adventure origin. But
just build your own Cybertron.
Build your own origin story. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not really sure about which one to choose. I kind of feel like we made a mistake now, because if we had talked to our uncle, he would have been like, that's the same stuff that took out my car earlier. But this time, since we kept it to ourselves, car was mysteriously not starting.
Yeah, I feel like we missed out some detail with our previous choice. this time they're being a little bit more blatant and saying, "Hey, you can ask for more information, or do you want to just proceed?"
Well, these both look like they lead kind of the same way. It's like both of these are just like,
I
what's more information about Starscream? I mean,
I'm a kid who has never read the Transformers. I'm going to ask about this evil Starscream.
okay.
Or I don't know. What do you guys think?
That does seem like the way the author would want to lead kids. I mean,
So, with I'm going to make my choice and just say, ask Jazz for more information about Starscream.
I
But
agree.
with the power of computers, I am able to cheat and see what the next page is.
Oh my God. Don't do it.
Well, I know the page number, and I know it's asking us to jump to 2 pages that are right next to each other. The
What are you
previous
talking
choice,
about? There's no page numbers on this one.
page
It's in
29
the
and page
URL.
30.
Oh, the URL. Okay.
So the
Yeah.
previous choice had us jump to 2 pages that were next to each other. So I'm starting to think that this is going to be mostly straightforward unless you want these little side details added to the story.
No.
So I'm curious to see what happens if we ask him for more information.
Well, if we want to cheat fully later, like I haven't mentioned this the last few times, but the TF Wiki site actually breaks down every choice in a paragraph, so you can actually just see how they all connect without having to read them all.
All right. So,
But
what
I
are we
actually,
choosing?
as a person, I just want to see how they describe Starscream because it could be hilarious or actually good.
Oh yeah, that could be really, really funny.
So
Why don't you?
Is he going to make up a Cybertronian name to call him? Something weird and made up?
yeah, so is that what we're doing with more about Starscream? I think we all three agreed on that.
Yeah. Do you want to read that one?
Yep. Starscream is one of the most powerful Decepticons, and for sheer cruelty, he has no equal. He can transform himself into a supersonic fighter plane and is armed with powerful cluster bombs and disruptive null rays. I am sure that the failure of electrical apparatus here yesterday was due to Starscream's arrival, since the equipment in the observatory Jazz gestures at the winking banks of computer displays is now working perfectly. He has obviously set up his null field devices pointing outward from this location, so that if the authorities get wind of what he's up to, any attack they launch will be immobilized before it gets here, says Uncle Jack. Oh, I should have put on some kind of twang accent. Just as your car was precisely. Now, pardon me, says Jazz. I must spend the next few minutes considering the possible ways in which Starscream may choose to act now. He bows his head, deep in thought. Jazz, suddenly says, perhaps you would like to be entertained by some excellent Earth music. Loud orchestral music blares from Jazz's built-in speakers and echoes across the huge dome. Yeehaw! Turn it down, Jazz! You tell him.
Orchestral music. What?
Uncle Jack covers his ears. Aunt Sue does not seem to be bothered by the noise because she had to deal with you growing up. No, that's not what it says. Sorry, Jazz, says to you. I keep forgetting you Earth people can't tolerate the same level of noise that we Transformers can. My speakers can reach 180 decibels, you know. Why, here, take a look at my trading card, he remarks proudly. No, he doesn't do that. Just so long as nowhere nearby when they do, says your uncle, chuckling. Suddenly, everyone goes quiet. Capital Jazz stops the music. Straining your ears, you hear the sound of an aeroplane approaching the observatory.
Thanks for that pronunciation.
Jesus, 180 decibels. That would actually, that's louder than fireworks. That's louder than a gunshot.
That's
And,
louder
like-
than an aeroplane.
I'm sorry, I made you all deaf now for a few years.
Well, apparently Aunt Sue was already deaf, so she nothing bothered her. Wow. Like those guys would have like temporary hearing loss.
That's Starscream, murmurs Jazz, listening to the drone of the aircraft's engine. But why is he coming in at subsonic speed? You think you can hear a second set of engines along with the first. Maybe he's going slowly so that a slower Decepticon can keep up, you suggest. Jazz nods slowly. Yeah, it all fits. You see, I noticed that your aunt has been behaving very strangely for an Earth person. You all look around to discover Aunt Sewell holding a gun at you. Sue! Exclaims Uncle Jack. She is under the control of Bombshell. Another Decepticon says, Jazz! He must have attacked the observatory this afternoon when she was alone here and implanted one of his cerebral shells onto her head. He is doing radio signals to tell her what to do. Put your weapons down, Autobot, Aunt Sue says dully, or I will shoot Jack. God, this is getting dark.
Oh.
Like, I don't think the cerebro shells would work on humans, but then, what's his name? Soundwave's mind stuff even worked on Chip, even though it was supposed to only work on Autobots, but whatever.
And how painful is it when those things attach to you?
Yeah, and aren't you supposed to have a giant black circle on your head? Nobody noticed that, or is she wearing a hat? And then it just says, you have the deactivated null field device, or you do not have this device. And now I'm thinking that Thomas was correct, and this is just one continuous story with side stuff that always loops back to the main story depending on what you did.
So are you telling me we basically have to tell the truth?
Because
we have not picked up a device, but should we pretend that we have?
No, there's no cheating in Transformers.
Oh my god.
I feel like this is a death sentence, though, if we don't have the device.
We have to play this game book honorably.
Oh my god. I think all right, so on to the next one.
You do not have this device. Click.
We're going to tell the truth? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
So much for choosing your own future there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, accept your
fate.
It's
called an adventure game book. You got to think and remember and write down the materials you've gotten from other side quest stories.
All right, I'll go ahead. There is a blinding pulse of light from Jazz, and everyone shields their eyes. Taking advantage of your aunt's confusion, Jazz steps forward and seizes her before she can pull the trigger. She struggles, but cannot get free of the Autobot's metallic grasp. When he pushes her hair back, you see Bombshell's implant as a bump under the skin behind her ear. Ew, jeez. So it like drilled into her, like, wow.
Yuck. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a little graphic for a kid's novel.
Yeah. Using a narrow laser beam from his rifle as deftly as a surgeon might use a scalpel, Jazz removes the cerebral shell and crushes it underfoot. Aunt Sue staggers over to your uncle. Thank goodness I'm rid of that ghastly device. I've been under Bombshell's control for hours. If not for Jazz, I might have killed you all. Outside, the scream of Starscream's jets build before cutting out. You can now hear only the low hum of Bombshell's engines approaching.
Wait a minute. She was still conscious while under the state of control from Bombshell.
Yeah.
She can remember enough that she almost killed everybody.
Dude, Bombshell, because when the Insecticons were first introduced, they were doing some stuff that just seemed kind of like twisted compared relative to like what we've seen and stuff. And like for them to be continuing this in his books, I'm like, really? I guess that's the opportunity for the writers to kind of like push the boundaries of censorship laws or whatever. All right, continuing on. Starscream's gone to supersonic speed, realizes Jazz. Everyone, get down. As you throw yourselves to the floor, one side of the dome explodes into fragments of stone and twisted steel. Through the broken gap, you can see the starry night sky. A powerful fighter plane sweeps in and drops towards the floor of the dome, transforming into the forbidding figure of Starscream. A loud rumbling in the sky follows him like a thunderclap. Because of his supersonic velocity, he got here before the sound of his jets did. A horrible blue shape hangs in the air above the dome and then starts to descend. It looks like a giant insect. Bombshell prefers to remain in his Insecticon form for now. He knows that it frightens you. And continuing on. While Bombshell keeps an eye on the four of you, Starscream marches over to the telescope and starts to swing it across the heavens. As I'm sure you've guessed, Jazz, he says with a note of triumph in his tinny voice, I'm looking for the weapons pod from Cybertron. Aha, there it is, floating close to the asteroid belt. He takes out a small metal sphere. It starts to bleep when he presses a stud on the outside or on the side. This is a homing beacon which will call the pod down to Earth.
What? Why'd you need to look through the telescope if you could just
The-
call it toward you whenever you wanted?
Yeah.
Go figure.
It will fall with the destructive power of a meteorite, of course. So Bombshell and I shall watch it from a safe distance. What shall we do with the humans, Master? Says Bombshell in a creepy humming voice. They shall be our slaves. As for Jazz, assume your normal form, Bombshell, and destroy him. Now we have two choices. You have the cerebral shell that was controlling your aunt. You do not have that device.
And we just took
Oh,
it
it's-
off of her, so we do
Yeah.
have the device.
So it
I
just got excised from under the skin, and it's all
Are we
I
gonna
know.
stick it on Bombshell so that he controls himself?
gory and slimy, but we decided to keep it.
Yeah. So I guess
No, he crushed it. Didn't he step on it? He cut it out
That's
with
right,
the
he
laser, and then
did.
he
What?
stepped on it.
He did. He
it
did.
crushes it underfoot.
Yep.
Yeah, but we have it.
No, we don't. we have the destroyed
crushed one.
remains.
Yeah,
That still counts.
No,
They're-
it doesn't.
they're kind of gory. I don't know if I want to pick up the
sworn
crushed.
that would be the same
remains.
thing.
Well, one, okay, I'm gonna vote that we do not have the device because one, it was destroyed. Two, it wouldn't make any sense to use it because either they use it on Bombshell, he's not going to control himself, and then two, they use it on Starscream. Starscream, well, Bombshell would probably just let him be.
It did, yeah, and it did say he crushed it underfoot. So I guess. God,
What if we lie? What if we say
Darn
we do have it?
don't know.
I mean, I am curious to
have
see.
it, and then we're like, oh shit, it got crushed. That's right.
I don't understand why they ask us that. Like, why they forced us to crush it? We didn't get to choose. Then if this was an option, it should have said, "Do you decide to destroy the device or keep it?" And it didn't give us any of those options.
Okay, so what's your choice?
Well, we could go to page 39 if we say we have it. Go to page 41 if we say we don't have it, which sounds like it's
Yeah.
advancing farther. So
I guess we don't have it. It's destroyed.
Oh, they're 2 pages apart this time. Uh-oh.
sigh.
Are we voting don't have? I guess I'll just say don't have because it was crushed.
You know what? I was gonna say don't have, but now I want to see what do they intend to do with it.
Hmm.
Do you want to know
Because-
that bad, or do you want to see?
I just want to see what happens if we don't have anything. Like,
I want to
how
know.
does it
Well, because we didn't have the other thing, and it just worked out just fine. So
Yeah.
so I want to see what happens if we say we have it.
Oh God.
Uh,
It's like, what are they gonna do with it? Like, are they gonna use it on Bombshell or Starscream?
Charlie, what do you think? You're the deciding vote.
We could just bookmark this page and like come back to it and see what happens if you don't have anything.
Okay. All right. So I guess you guys are going with we have it, right?
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
lie to ourselves.
It's right
Okay.
there on the floor
All right. We're gonna be
We're gonna scrape that thing up and we're gonna
we
use
just
it.
lie to ourselves.
in
the
bits
book.
and pieces. All right, you have the cerebral shell that was controlling your aunt.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Bombshell takes little notice of you humans. All his attention is on Jazz. As he transforms into his robot form, you throw the cerebral shell so that lodges onto the armor at the back of his neck. Take care, Starscream warns. The human threw something at you. Bombshell would rather fight humans than the powerful Jazz. He turns towards you. Humans are no problem, he snarls. I can make them my puppets with the cerebral shells. He activates his controlling signal. Oh, jeez. Having primed his cerebral shells, Bombshell lurches towards you. He intends to inject his devices into your heads and turn you into his slaves. But the cerebral shell, which you threw at him, is also activated now. It starts to give off confusing messages. The effect is like a feedback on a stereo system, and Bombshell starts to wave his arms wildly. Jazz adds to the Insecticon's troubles with a steady burst of high-frequency noise from his speakers. Terrified, Bombshell turns back into his insect form and scuttles away.
Yeah, we
Well, that's
did
a
it.
funny mental image, but why did they draw whatever this is?
I know. I don't understand what's
What
happening.
is that?
It looks like Jazz is crushing something in his hands.
Arm out with nothing in it, and it's just Bombshell blasting off. In the backdrop is just rubble that's still falling to pieces, I
Or if
guess.
there's something look something got crushed and it's
Oh
like
God.
that's about it.
But Charlie, continue. I just saw the next page and what the decisions are to come.
Okay, Starscream glances up at the sky. Following his gaze, you see a tiny pinprick of light. It must be the weapons pod entering the Earth's atmosphere. Jazz starts to bring his flamethrower to bear on the two Decepticons. But before he can do so, Starscream unleashes a concussive blast, which stuns him. Farewell, humans! Rages Starscream as he begins to resume his aircraft form. I must depart before the weapons pod smashes this place to rubble. His mechanical laughter is drowned out by the roar as his jets ignite. You look to Jazz, but he is still too groggy to act. Starscream's homing beacon, which is attracting the falling weapons pod straight toward it, lies on the floor beside the telescope. Okay, so you have two choices. We need to either get the homing beacon and hurl it at Starscream. That's a good idea. Or you can put it in your pocket, because that
I
makes
I
a
wanna
whole
chuck it.
lot of sense.
I want to chuck it at Starscream, and then he just flies away and goes, "Wait, why is this coming closer? Oh God! Kaboom!" and just blows him up.
Or we can put it in our pocket and we can have that same scenario play out on top of us.
Okay,
Yeah.
This could be the second book where Starscream gets killed.
He's not going to die. Starscream's invincible.
Well, let's do it. I want to chuck the homing beacon.
Okay.
My vote is to put it in our pocket. I cannot bring myself to actually go through the act of harming Starscream. That will never happen.
I vote to not put it in my pocket.
All right, cool.
I value my
Murderers.
non-existent
Murderers.
cartoon nads.
Oh, the picture is so weak. Anyway, but I gotta read and see what actually happens.
Oh, the carnage.
You run across to the flashing beacon, snatch it up, and throw it. Luck is with you. The beacon drops into the air intake as one of Starscream's jets and catches fire. To the overconfident Decepticon, you are too insignificant to matter, even though he said to watch out for humans earlier, like he was intelligent. And so he fails to notice what you have done. With a thundering roar, Starscream speeds up away from the dome. The weapons pod is descending fast, and it swerves in the air to follow him. Starscream does not realize that this is because the beacon is lodged inside his jet, and he is too astonished to dodge. The heavy pod smashes through the starboard wing like a shooting star. Thick black clouds bellow from Starscream's broken wing. Any normal plane would drop from the sky, but he is a master of flying and somehow manages to glide away.
Yay. He survived.
Wow. Jazz steps towards Bombshell, who is now recovered. It seems that your evil master is running away, laughs the Autobot as he raises his flamethrower. Are you prepared to continue our battle alone, Insecticon? Bombshell's eyes sparkle with alarm. He has no wish to stay and fight Jazz on his own, as he's previously mentioned was the powerful Jazz. So he rapidly soars aloft and speeds off behind his damaged master.
I thought he flew away already. He's flying off again?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, well, there's one of those hiccups in the choose your own adventure.
Well, then the other one is like, okay, the pod crashes through Starscream's
Hold on, we're not
wing.
done yet. We got one final page. Starscream's evil plan has been thwarted, and your uncle and aunt are safe. Though the dome was shattered when Starscream blasted his way through it, the damage can be repaired. Fortunately, the priceless telescope is not even scratched. Though it is late, your aunt and uncle insist on asking Jazz a stream of questions about his homeworld, how he and the Transformers came to Earth.
Oh, Jesus. Tell us your origin story again.
To read this origin story, please read pages 70 through 85. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, my.
The strange technology they possess. You are almost overcome with wonder at Jazz's incredible tales. When he finally leaves, it is almost done. They can just condense it in all 2 sentences.
God, God, that's the best ending ever.
After saying goodbye to your friend, you stand with your uncle and aunt watching him drive away along the lonely mountain road. You know that he and his companions will continue the struggle against the evil Decepticons. And if, as you hope, they ever win that struggle, a small step on the way to that victory will have been won with your help. The end.
All
And
right.
then your aunt and uncle take the whole story to the press. They get rich and live happily ever.
So you want to see what happens if we just keep it in our pocket and try to suicide ourselves?
No.
Yeah, let's do it. I want to see what
I
happens.
want to know is what happened here, because we just saw on the previous page the pods crashed through Starscream's wing and was still intact, and it was still hurtling towards Earth. So if it hit the planet, it's going to cause a big explosion. Is it going to continue flying after Starscream, or is it just going to keep going straight down?
That was Jazz's problem. We helped save the day already. We don't need to think anymore.
Plot holes.
Wing broke the fall. It's mostly destroyed. Just bits of the thing will fall down. So I think we're good.
All right. So looking at putting the beacon into our pocket, it says you slip the flashing beacon into your pocket as Starscream roars up away from the dome. Bombshell has also recovered now, and he quickly flies after his master again. Your uncle and aunt are standing around, dazed with shock, as Jazz searches frantically for something amid the debris. Tell Jazz you have the homing beacon, or
Let's
keep quiet about it.
We learned what happened when we kept quiet.
Oh
we
my
did
God.
the wrong thing, okay? Remember, our uncle would have known what that shooting star was. We wouldn't have turned the car on and been, what happened. Instead, we should learn from our mistakes.
They're basically giving us a chance to
redeem ourselves.
Well, we decided to put the beacon in our pocket. Then now they're basically like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" So I think if we tell Jazz, then Jazz is going to throw it onto Starscream's intake.
Also, why was Jazz dazed in our final picture, which allowed us to throw the homing beacon at Starscream? Because previously he just amplified his speakers. Did he blow his own ears out with how loud his speakers were?
No. The aunt and uncle are around days.
No. I'm saying on the story we already read that had the end on it. When that last chapter ended, it said Jazz is still groggy, and I was like, from what? Oh, it's right here before you put it in your pocket. It says he's too groggy to act, and I'm like, why is he groggy?
That was from something.
Starscream shot him. He hit him with a concussive blast.
Oh yeah,
he did? I don't remember him being shot at all because he just told Bombshell to do everything. Oh, okay.
The speakers messed up Bombshell, and then Jazz was trying to do something he was trying to use his flamethrower, but then Starscream shot him first.
High frequency noise from his speakers, so he went away.
And that was for Bombshell. So then Bombshell flew away, but I guess he didn't fly far because then he decided to fly away a second time.
Yeah, because he just now tries to use his flamethrower on them.
And then
concussive blast. Okay, I don't know why I missed that. Okay, so we put it in our pocket. I think keep quiet about it is, oh my God, you should just read that, Thomas.
Yeah.
Keep quiet about it?
Yeah, click on it.
It's the end.
Too bad you don't mention that you have the homing beacon, because that is exactly what Jazz is so anxious to find. The descending weapons pod is hitting straight towards it. It will hit the ground exactly where you are standing, and the impact will destroy the observatory, to say nothing of its human occupants. Best that we close the book on this dreadful scene, for this is the end.
I love it. This book is not afraid to make you do dumb decisions.
What a shame. It's too much to look upon. Let's just turn around and act like we don't know what happened.
Can Jazz even do anything with the homing beacon, though? Or is it just he becomes the hero and then you get like a mediocre ending where it's like, well, Jazz saved the day and you did nothing to contribute?
So, okay, with Jazz getting the beacon, Jazz holds out his hand. Quickly, give it to me. You hand him the flashing beacon. The weapons pod, which is now visible like a comet in the night sky, is falling straight towards it. Jazz smashes the beacon in the palm of his still-shot hand. With his homing beacon destroyed, the falling weapons pod spins out of control and screeches overhead. I estimate it will come down in the Pacific Ocean, a fitting place for those deadly weapons. For Starscream will never find them there. Well, they live in the ocean. They know how to get around the ocean. And two, he is so lucky that it just happened to conveniently land in the ocean and not anywhere on the ground.
So if he destroyed it, it should have continued on its predetermined path which was the observatory.
Yep.
So he should have gone somewhere like in the open field and then destroyed it so that nobody could alter its course. Like, I don't know how it just fizzes out like and goes, "Brr, brr, brr, oh man, I don't know where to go now."
Hey, is this the same page you went to before? Like,
No, it's
The
different.
second two paragraphs on the end of this path are the same, but the first paragraph is different. It says,
oh, okay.
Starscream's evil plan has been thwarted, and your uncle and aunt are safe. Though the dome was shattered when Starscream blasted his way through it, the damage can be repaired. Oh, sorry. I guess this is exactly
It is the whole
same.
thing. Yeah, it's the
Alright,
same
yeah.
3 paragraphs.
Yeah, and then they
That's
asked
the
for a
good ending.
recap of Jazz's home world and the whole
Yeah.
Transformers
Why
origin
don't
story.
Okay, I think that's a missed opportunity. They should have had a third option. Like, I know there's always 2, but they should have had you destroy the homing beacon as an option and also tell Jazz, because then it would have been funny that Jazz just does the same thing that you could have done and saves it anyway. That would have been so hilarious.
Oh, well, so I'm typing in numbers to see what other pages there are. There are some that don't exist, but page 66 has a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
Oh,
apparently we missed a whole opening subplot. If we tell our uncle about the
oh yeah.
If we
I
tell
heard
our
about
uncle about the light, he says, "Oh, well, I gotta go somewhere. You stay here. You can either wait or sneak to the observatory, which gets you here with no items whatsoever, I'm assuming. Or you can just try to keep waiting, try to talk to the owner, which sounds like a lot of busy work.
Well,
And then you meet
spoilers.
Jazz without your uncle, apparently."
Spoilers. Your aunt and uncle get captured, and Bombshell is guarding them, and you sneak into the observatory.
Oh no.
Oh my god! So I guess Starscream's there with the telescope trying to find the pod. Bombshell has the 2 parents.
We missed
What
some
is Jazz
characters.
doing?
Olaf, the big man who runs the petrol station.
Oh man. And both times your uncle and Jazz are like, "Stay here, we'll investigate." And you can stay put or come anyway both those times. He's like, "I don't need no adult tell me what to do. I don't need no robotic transformer tell me what to do." I wonder if you stay put if you die.
We could get
It's
into a
just,
strange car if you stay put.
uh,
Let's see.
but it's just
Page 48 has Bombshell and Starscream chasing after the terrified-looking parents, or the
What?
aunt and uncle.
Why is that?
Oh well, it's the picture. There's a picture on it this time. I'll post the link in general.
Well, you actually get to ride
Oh my
inside of
god, yeah.
you get to ride inside of Jazz on page 7 if you told your uncle instead of
Yeah.
walking up to the observatory.
And apparently if you just go with Jazz, it goes right back to where we entered and read everything. Just
Right.
you could have found an extra item in the car that your dad had while you were just looking around, which is that item that we didn't have. Apparently you can find a way to stop the null ray device.
You get an actual null ray device.
Yeah, null ray device somehow. So I don't know how you're supposed to get the Cerebro shell though, because it was smashed. So how are you supposed to get it without it being smashed?
Maybe if he took a different arc, he would have not like.
Yeah, it
smashed
seems
it or
like this
something.
other arc, Bombshell doesn't use it at all because their parents are just running away. So it looks like they were never controlled. But I do like how the kid and Jazz are together, and one of the choices gives the kid the option to tell Jazz to let's just leave. and Jazz says, Jazz dislikes the idea of running away.
And so it just tells you to go to a new page anyway.
It says Jazz dislikes the idea of running away, but he knows that it is wise to get himself prepared before taking on his enemies. With his motor purring quietly, he starts to reverse down the road away from the observatory. So he does try to run away. Unfortunately, Bombshell is alert and notices you. Yelling out to warn Starscream, he leaps into the air and transforms to become a hideous blue beetle. TM. Moments later,
yellow.
Moments later, he is speeding after you in hot pursuit. Yeah, isn't he purple?
Yeah, purple and yellow. All of them are. That's funny. But it's black and white, so, can't tell. What, is there more story happening? Is that what you're about to say? Sorry.
Oh, wow. That leads right to a choice. Jazz should try to outrun him or get Jazz to stop right now. I clicked on Jazz should try to outrun him. Up in the air, Bombshell easily overtakes the Porsche. He swings like a blue-black angel of death and alights on a Craig. As he switches to robot form, a powerful mortar tilts from his head. Jazz brakes wildly, but he is too late. An explosive shell spits from the Decepticon's deadly mortar, and for you and Jazz, this is the end.
I'm on a page
Bombshell
11.
kills a kid.
Mm-hmm.
On page 11, you can tell Jazz to just blindly blast a boulder with his photon rifle, or you can wait to see who or what is behind the boulder. Let's see who is behind the boulder. Is it Uncle Jack?
So if we kept choosing to say we had no Cerebro Shell, had no items whatsoever, Bombshell approaches Jazz, and Starscream doesn't join. He's like, "Will you not assist me, mighty Starscream?" And he's like, "Bah, are you afraid of Jazz? He is hardly the strongest of the Autobots." Even though Bombshell called him the mighty Autobot Jazz in one of the other choose places.
Uncle Jack was behind the boulder, by the way.
But apparently you pin Bombshell to the floor with the telescope itself by unscrewing it or pressing a button on the panel to do that. And it just leads right back to the same options of putting the homing beacon on Starscream or putting it in your pocket. So it didn't lead anywhere different. It loops back around if you don't have anything to what we've already read first.
Your husband is not badly damaged, ma'am. Just a slight accident.
Oh, that's why. If we had the null field, yeah, we can nullify the Cerebro shell, so then they can take it out, and he doesn't have to destroy it because it's already not active. So there's no need to destroy it. And then it loops back around to the same stuff that leads to the option of that. But apparently, there's all this other pages that I didn't know about, like the one you told me about them racing. You know, I'm sneaking in and seeing them together sounds like a whole different series of story choices.
There's even a picture of Jazz carrying the lifeless Uncle Jack around.
What?
Yes, he's been unconscious for 3 pages.
We've only read maybe less than half. There's so much more like alternate takes of this still somehow. Like when you go by yourself to the observatory with Jazz, and then when you sneak up there by yourself, it leads to like 2 separate things that also potentially loop back to themselves as well.
Well, it looks like with this story too, you get to either or use Jazz as the hero or be the hero yourself if you choose
If you
the
make
right
the right
option.
decisions, yeah. All right, I'm gonna see how there's only 5 endings. We read 1 and we read 2, the bad ending, and the third was the bad ending. Oh, well, I don't know what there's only 3 endings. Never mind. That can't be right, right? I guess there's only 3 endings. That's weird. I guess it just keeps looping back because of all the items you collect.
That one path did take us to the same ending again. So
Oh my god. Go to page 30 to look at the artist rendition of Starscream.
page 30.
This is if we decide to ask why he wants the observatory. His face is kind of hilarious. Like he just looked at the figure and drew it black and white.
Does he not have he doesn't have hands or something? I see one hand. Where's the other?
Wow.
Oh yeah, the other one's a gun. Yeah. That must be his ray.
That's drawn from an action figure, isn't it?
Yeah, that just loops back around to itself too. So yeah.
On this page, oh my god.
What's wrong?
Megatron's name is 2 words. It's Megatron as the leader of the evil forces.
That's
we can't
funny.
speak the name Decepticon. They're just the evil forces.
Okay, so if you go up with Jazz by yourself, you have to go on foot, and he tells you to wait there. It looks like it just keeps going all over the place. Oh my god, it just loops back to us with information for the items. So yeah, there is only 3 endings. There's the good ending, and then the 2 bad endings. And then there's that boulder thing you were mentioning.
No, there were 2 good endings. Well, I guess one of the endings was used twice. Then we saw 2 specific bad endings.
Oh, so you know what that was? It tells you to go to page whatever, and so both of them lead to the same the end page. That's what happened.
Yeah.
There might be multiple ways to get to that bad ending other than the 2. Why are we throwing a rock to just smash? Oh my god, it just loops back again to the same stuff. Yeah, so this really, a lot of it keeps looping back, unlike the more traditional choose your own adventure books that we're used to. I do kind of like how it does have 3 items you can collect during alternate ways that you can use, but even if you don't have any of them, you can still get the good ending. Do you guys think that's a good thing that you can still get the good ending even if you don't collect them all? Or should you only get the good ending if you had collected 1 or 2 of those items?
Gives you a reason to go back and read it again if you find out. I mean, I guess if they told you somewhere you're supposed to try to collect all 3 blah blah blahs. If you're a
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
completionist, you'll go back and be like, how do I do this?"
Yeah,
And
because
find
sometimes
the
sometimes you play a video game and you only go so far and you don't do all the side quests, but then you decide to play it in and get 100%.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my god, if you left to go to the observatory, you try to point a gun? Where'd you get a gun, human? Human kid?
Uncle Jack has a gun at one point.
Oh,
I
okay,
don't know
Uncle Jack.
why,
Okay,
but
Uncle Jack points it at the Transformer. Jazz points his giant missile at the fleshy human. So, but yeah. But no, it's interesting because this book actually does help you figure out how different things work and like loop back into itself. So it actually seems pretty well put together because usually choose your own adventures can start going off on multiple tangents and become shorter stories and you don't know what your actions actually did. Like obviously there's a few things like if you go on foot to the observatory, it's the same story happening but it took you so long to get there. Starscream and Bombshell are there already because if you had gone with Jazz or your uncle you would have been there by now. So the same story is still happening throughout the entire book, and it's actually being affected your decisions based on time and the items you get and things like that. Sometimes in Choose Your Own Adventures, you'll be like get 2 options, and completely different plots will happen, even if you choose those 2 directions. But this one was the same plot and just different ways. So I kind of like this one. It's a lot different, but it seems like really a good choose your own adventure for like early choose your own adventure readers. What did you think
Yeah.
of this, Thomas?
Um, it was fine. I do appreciate that, well, I guess I was gonna say I appreciate that they kind of told the story without having to get Megatron or Optimus involved. But I guess we have read stories like that before where it wasn't about, the expected figures. Bombshell has been, I feel like there was at least one other book we've read with Bombshell in it. And Starscream's been in multiple. Jazz, I think, has been in multiple as well. So,
Yeah, but he's not really been too much of a main character a lot. I kind of
no.
liked that it was just one good guy, one bad guy, because that rarely happens. I mean, granted, Bombshell is here too. I'm wondering if the other UK books are like this, if they just focus on 1 or 2 characters because you, the human, are going on an adventure with them.
make it easier to write the story, I think, because yeah, there wasn't a lot of confusion between which Transformers where or doing what.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of strange that he was all by himself. This is kind of a lonely Transformers adventure. It felt like Jazz was just out in the middle of nowhere. There was no one around to help him. And there's Insecticons and Decepticons attacking him. But yeah, where are all of his buddies? Where's Bumblebee? Anybody?
That's funny. I kind of hope the other ones are less. I kind of like this too. Like maybe the format doesn't have to be the same, but I do want to see more of just like 1 to 2 Transformers because all of them always do include a ton of them. Who is this text referring to, and all that stuff.
I guess they didn't make any excuses for the other Transformers, but that would have been funny if they would have said, "Oh, they're on vacation" or something. So I've seen that happen in other things before.
That's hilarious. There are 4 other adventure game books of this type for this. That'd be interesting to see the other one because one follows Grimlock and the other follows Beachcomber.
Oh God, Grimlock.
And then the other one actually looks like it's Optimus versus Megatron, so that one could actually be really interesting.
Is Grimlock like me smash the whole time? Do they just like? Is there any dialogue or?
Or actually, no, there's 5. I think there's 5 more left, but one of them looks like it's a season 3 book. And you're visiting Disneyland in California while looking for a hot dog stand. I guess you encounter the Grimlock and other dinosaurs because they break into Disney World or something, Disneyland. I don't know how they get away with using Disneyland in this, but apparently they can do that. So maybe we'll have to look at that one soon. Because that one looks hilarious. Assuming it's available as of the scan somewhere.
I think I found the action figure the funny Starscream is based on.
Hmm.
It's uploaded to general if you want to look at it, but you could kind of see the similarities between just the pieces of the action figure and the drawing because it has it has a gun on the opposite side we see on the action figure, but otherwise, yeah, a lot of the parts and even the screw in the middle is there.
The
So
large
I
intakes on the side of his head.
yeah yeah
The others aren't scanned, so we would have to order them ourselves and scan them ourselves. Look for them on eBay if we wanted to do that. But anyway, Charlie, so what did you think of it overall?
that one was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. Weird that it just had Jazz as the main character, but it worked. It had the adventure, had all the elements of trying to save the day that should have had. So it was pretty good.
I also like it gives you some stupid decisions, like just keep it in your pocket and and die.
Don't tell anyone.
I love that one. It's like giving you a chance to not tell again, and you're just like, nope, not gonna tell again. Dead. Any final thoughts, Thomas?
No, not any more than that. But yeah, I do agree that I like that. There's like several opportunities for you to just purposely just like get yourself in trouble or killed.
And most of the time, they'll give you a chance to get out, but not when you make that stupid decision.
Illustrations weren't very exciting, but
Yeah.
the the dialogue painted the picture of it pretty well. So it's like you just imagine the story.
The cover is actually pretty interesting. You definitely have Jazz being exactly like he is as an action figure, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he still looks not so figuric. You can tell there's a little bit more to it, but it's still really action figure heavy. But it tells tell you what's going to happen. There's an observatory. Starscream's blowing it up with missiles. It's on fire. So, interesting cover. But yeah, so that was Peril from the Stars. We hope you've enjoyed our version of how events played out. Signing off, this is Sean.
Charlie.
And Thomas.
Good night.